Yeah, so I'm feeling very excited today, and just wanting to work with more foundations. As I mentioned to you, I'm working with the Barefoot College for their event that's happening on the 30th of April. So it's called Impact New York, and I have written a song about female empowerment, and I will be performing it that night. But the Barefoot College, I mean, what they're doing is also so impactful. They train young women in rural villages in India to become solar engineers.
Wow.
So they go off for 6 months, I believe. I could be wrong, but go check their website, barefootcollege.com, and they taken off for 6 months, and they're trained to be solar engineers. But they also go through an enrichment program, so learning about sex, menstruation, etc. And then they go back to their villages afterwards with the equipment, and then they proceed to teach young girls and other women in the villages how to basically become solar engineers themselves, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Providing energy for the villages. And so I'm also working with them, which I met,
my gosh,
I believe a couple of days ago. So very excited and wanting to do more work like this, more work that causes social impact, and how music is such a powerful tool. Absolutely.
And even you were saying too how throughout your life and throughout a person's life, how do you think, do you think the impact of music changes?
Oh, I love this question. Music has the ability to bring people together. It's incredibly powerful. You're bringing people together from different forms of life, from different backgrounds, diversities, orientations, and you're just creating a community with music. So whether you're dancing to music, or you could be choral singing with music, music is something that has this sort of social inclusion. And the more people come together, the more impact that we can have to instill some sort of change. And I believe and it does change throughout your life, because music also forms a relationship between family and children, between their parents and their children. And that develops during the course of your life, and it can have many different impacts. I mean, for example, my dad, it's not really impactful, but he influenced me listening to, well, no, it is impactful. I take that back. It is impactful. The music that I listened to growing up was Gilbert and Sullivan and operetta, which led me to study classical music and go to the Lausanne Conservatory and develop my passion for music. But then we also listened to like Nirvana and sort of more heavy metal. But any music can have an impact on your life. I believe that being able to experience music together, whether you're listening or you're making music, it increases your cooperation with people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is absolutely what I agree. And I believe with that increased cooperation, I believe that it can decrease tension and conflicts, and can also increase the empathy because of the shared experiences.
Right. Yeah.
And it also is it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it helps people to belong, I believe.
Yeah. Wow.
There's also a lot of science behind that as well.
Yeah.
So Stronger With Music, I have not mentioned this yet, but it's an artist collective that promotes the importance of mental health in music, whether that's through physiological or psychological benefits. But there are so many unique benefits of music. on whether it's the neuroplasticity for learning, for example, or the evolution of language from even from a young baby to an adult.
Right. Yeah.
Improvisation, spirituality, like your emotions, it all leads back to music and sort of the limbic systems in your brain. Sorry, getting a little bit sciencey, but
no, yeah, I follow.
Everything is affected. Your amygdala in your brain is a huge emotional stimulus from music.
Wow.
Sorry, lots of science.
no, yeah. And like, even like in tandem with that, I've heard and read so much about how music is actually like any kind of song you listen to. I've heard this, and you can definitely expand on it because you definitely know more, but that it's almost like how life should be. Like the way music sounds when we listen to it is how life should flow when we're in flow or when we feel good. So I thought that was fascinating.
It absolutely does. I mean, it affects the dopamine in your system, which is critical for the pleasure when you hear different types of music. And then it also affects like your hippocampus, which is also critical to do with your memory and your learning in your brain, which has huge effects on social engagement and also attachment. So again, it's that like bonding through the emotional and the physical experience of how we all react to music.
Yeah.
And I believe that more people should be aware of this.
Yes. Yeah.
Bring those people together so we can make real change.
Yes. And for those of you guys watching, check out Stronger with Music. Get in tune with what they're doing, because seriously, I'm blown away by what you guys are doing, and that because you include, it's very hard to articulate, but I think that it's something that hasn't been seen before. I think it's something that more people need to pay attention to, because you're taking such a different angle with music that I haven't heard from. It's not just purely a pleasurable experience. It's actually a meaningful experience.
It can cause social impact, but
yeah.
there are a lot of organizations who are working, for example, as I mentioned earlier, for the article that I read this morning, on Spotify, in the Forbes magazine. They're using their platform as leverage in order to create these programs and bring people together through music. And also there are incredible PhD neuroscientists who are focusing on the effect of music and your mental health. So the information is out there, and I wrote an article a couple of months ago, it came out back in January, on the news and media site Like a Boss Girls. I'm a freelance writer for them, contributor, and I talk about Stronger with Music and also the power and the sort of scientific effects that it has on us, on our brains, our minds, our bodies. So definitely check that out.
Yes.
Any of this information, you can just go onto my website, just www.pieravandewiel.com. If you need help with the spelling, I'm sure my name will be listed. So
yes, we'll help you guys out with that. Yeah. I read that article. It's amazing. And I loved, well, I don't want to spoil it, but really great. There's some really great parts in it that I love. So you should take a look.
I definitely speak about personal experiences as well, and also mention my family, etc. So you should definitely read it if you can, if you want to.
Check it out, guys. It's awesome. It's amazing.
Thanks,
no problem. No, I love that article. You're talking about your grandfather and everything. Anyway, I love that part. So as someone who has certainly felt and been different from the rest, how have you taken care of your mental well-being despite, I'm sure you've experienced social rejection, career rejection in general, at this age especially. I think like our viewers are in their teens and early adulthood, and rejection is like major. I feel like it's just everywhere at this point in our lives.
I mean, absolutely. I'm an actor, singer, writer, producer, so I'm very much an entrepreneur. So I'm very much in the world of putting myself out there and hoping that someone's going to say, okay, yes, we want to work with her. And sometimes, yes, brilliant. I move forward and I'm leaping and I'm excited. And sometimes, you know, you have some setbacks. But what you've got to realize is sometimes the journey, what I'm definitely realizing now is the journey isn't, oh, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's sometimes going to take you on different paths. But through those different paths, you're going to find truly where you want to end up. So any rejections that you may have, you just got to have the willingness to continue to move forward with your passions and your ideas, and just have the courage to do so.
Yeah, and
absolutely what I would say.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about courage, like I've heard you mention before, and I love that so much, because you don't, like at this age, I don't think you need as much confidence as you do courage.
Right, absolutely. I mean, with courage comes confidence. I actually believe if you put yourself out there, try every day speaking to someone new, whether it's making a new friend or anything.
Oh, I love that.
Just put yourself out there, because you're going to feel a lot more valued and being able to help others if you can do so. So I think that's very important, and something that I truly believe in is networking.
Yes, yeah.
And networking is, I love networking. That's where I'm being able to develop my partnerships with different organizations, or even just met friends. It could be filmmakers, directors, owners of organizations. They could hear you sing, for example, and then put you forward to other people. And then from that, it sort of spirals and creates and becomes something bigger, which is, it's exciting. So that would be my advice, is to keep powering on forward and reach out to people, have the courage to do that, by making new connections, your confidence will build. It's important to form a network around what you want to do, both in a business world, but also in your personal life too.
Wow. Yeah. And with, in tandem with that, because I love what you've said, but also I feel like there's a lot of people that experience social anxiety. I don't know if you've experienced it, but what are some tips of advice specifically for networking, for people with social anxiety or anxiety?
Well, I grew up as an only child, so I was just me and my parents. So I very much had to, at a young age, engage with people. Yeah. I'm very lucky because I love people. It's probably one of my favorite things. I can tell. I find that there's energy that comes within me when I'm meeting new people. I'm excited to find out their story. I'm excited to hear about what they're bringing in their path and their journey. So something I would definitely suggest is, if you want to go and meet new people, it's okay to take a friend. It's absolutely okay to, I keep mentioning the word friendship today, but having someone also by your side to just be there, and I think that's definitely the best opinion and option that I think I have, is to move forward with your friends. Actually, this past Monday, I took my roommate to a networking event, and at first she was sort of unsure, but then she was there and she was meeting people and getting business cards, and
lovely.
And I think within that you can build that confidence, because you understand that you have a voice, and also what you're doing can help the bigger picture.
Wow. And I love that too, because even at team, especially, like, we're all about being support for the support. And what you've just said with what you did with your friend, being there for her, going to a networking event, that's such a great way to support your friends too, is showing up with them, like you said. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Show up.
Show up. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, it's the best. I agree, because I've done that with my sisters, actually. I had social anxiety for a while, and I'd go with my, like, younger by 3 years, sisters.
So lovely.
And they would go with me and give me that confidence. So you guys listening, that's a great way to network and build your confidence and practice courage.
Absolutely. And it's okay to do that.
Yes.
It's okay that you might need to bring a friend.
Yes. It's so true, because there's a stigma around it, I feel like, a bit. Yeah,
perhaps. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, I tend to go to networking events or different, it could be screenings or anything like that by myself, but bringing a friend that's not a problem. It's also kind of lovely because you're bringing that friend into your world as well.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. That's so true. So true. What is something that you do daily that contributes to your mental health, Piera?
Well, as a singer, I know, sorry, back to music, guys.
Absolutely, yeah. I love it.
I tend to warm up, so whether it's a vocal warm-up or a singing warm-up, it sort of sets me up for my day.
Wow.
And I start off with music in the morning, and it puts me into this positive place, and it sort of takes me forward in the day. So
wow. And
I mean, it's a singing warm-up, any singer can do it, etc. But for others, it's also like a vocal warm-up. It's warming up your body and just feeling present and being in the moment.
And how long have you been doing that for? Is it something you learned like in school, or like did you develop it a bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely learned that in school. Yes. So I went to the Tisch for 4 years and was studying acting, but also music and business entertainment. And I learnt about vocal technique, etc., within acting and warm-ups, etc. But the singing warm-ups have always been there, probably since I was very young, since I began singing. But I'd always probably do it at the afternoon, etc. But putting it in the morning, it sets up your day.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That's like, try it, everyone watching, because that's such a different way to start your morning. You never hear that. Like I've heard,
it's definitely different.
Yeah, but I love it because it might be really great if you feel even stuck in a rut.
Sure.
Change it up. Yeah, I love that. I love that you start your day with music. I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's what our conversation will be about, mostly music, but I'm fine with that. That is my passion and what I want to bring forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, anyway, was your best friend, was she that you lost when you were 15, was she part of the inspiration for Stronger with Music? And yeah, was she part of that?
Absolutely. So when I was 15, I lost my best friend Sophie in a car accident. So when that happens, I mean, I sort of lost control of myself, if that makes sense. I ended up losing friends, and I wasn't myself, and I was crying, not really talking to people, etc. And it wasn't until the music department at my school, my teacher, he took me under his wing, and I started singing every night after school in the music department. And that's really where I spent a lot of my time, was in the music department, and then performing, and also finally writing. I wrote my first song called Waltz to Sophie, which actually hasn't been released or published. I want to revisit it and definitely do it justice and put it out for her and for me. And with performing and writing, I started to feel stronger and started to feel better. And I felt like it gave me a voice to my grief, but also a voice to how I was feeling at that time. And throw forward to December 2017, so many years later, I finally had the courage, there's our word again, where I decided to set up Stronger with Music with some incredible women. And it began as a music media series on a news and media site called Like a Boss Girls. Go check them out. They are pretty amazing. They're on Instagram and also Facebook. And on there, we had filmed episodes and where I was singing covers, but also engaging with the audience about different issues. And then from that, I wanted to take it further. So I started reaching out to foundations, etc. And then last week at the UN, it's now put me in a different mindset that I want to work with more organizations. Last week there was it was a co-sponsored event from the Mission of Djibouti and also the Aspire Artemis Foundation. And there were also the Under Secretary General who was there, and also delegates from Canada, Guinea, Singapore, African Union, and Morocco, just to name a few. But there were also like larger corporation companies like UNESCO, UN Women, UNCTAD, UNICEF. And I just thought, I've been thinking too small. I want to branch out and work with more people and form more partnerships and collaborations.
Yeah.
And our main topic last week was talking about STEAM. So I'm sure everyone's heard of STEM. So it's including science, technology, engineering, and maths for the youth and also young girls. But now they've created a new campaign called STEAM, which is talking about the effects of arts and culture and how that is a different way of learning.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that. That's amazing.
That's what I mean. I learned so much.
Oh my gosh.
From performing and being asked to perform at this event, that it's inspired me to do a lot more and to think a lot bigger.
I love that.
I can work with.
Yeah.
I want to be working with neuroscientists who have like a focus and PhD and looking into music and mental health.
Wow. And
just sort of widen my scope and do more research is definitely where I'm at right now, and how Strong with Music has sort of progressed from when I was 15 to finally having the courage 2 years ago to make this artist collective and build it. And that's my goal is to build it and and create some social impact in any way that I possibly can. I would love to do that.
And you are already, like, it's, and I love how you said too, that the thinking big, right? Like that's amazing too, that you're surrounded by that to expand. Well,
sometimes you feel
impact.
Nervous. Sometimes you feel nervous, like, oh, can I do this? But
yes.
Once you're put into a room where policies are being changed and spoken about and programs are being enforced, you're thinking everyone is working towards something that is bigger. Mm-hmm. Why can't we work together? There is no reason to do that. You just have to have power in your idea and in yourself that you can help.
Yes. Yeah. That's drop the mic, Piera, literally and metaphorically. But I'm
trying. I want to help.
Yes. And I feel like that's such a beautiful driving force to have behind anything you do. Like, that's the passion. Exactly. Is that impact, because then what else are we doing it for, really? And so is there a specific, like, has the impact, like, have you nailed down what the impact with Strong with Music is? Like, is there something specific that you're like, okay, this is the impact I want to have? Maybe it's this week, like this year, with Stronger with Music.
I mean, as I mentioned, I want to form more collaborations. Mm-hmm. I want to form more collaborations with the UN. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to continue a relationship somehow, whether it's with delegates or advisors, etc. I would just love to build upon that and work with more people to, as I previously mentioned, working with neuroscientists as well, to really look into the research and build upon that, and from that creating programs where we can learn more and give people the ability to learn more about the effect that music can have, scientifically, but also mentally, and for our well-being.
I love that. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is amazing. I absolutely love that. And
I would also love to look into music therapy as well.
Yes.
I'm absolutely going to do that. I'm looking into it as we speak, actually.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Music therapy, it helps in every capacity, whether it's with learning difficult give me a second, people with learning difficulties, or whether it's people with as I mentioned, my grandfather who suffers from dementia, but and Alzheimer's as well. And there is so much that music can offer and that we're all still discovering.
Wow. And in tandem with that, what is something about music and perhaps mental health, the relationship between that? What do you feel like? Well, I guess you've already said this, but is there something else that hasn't been said yet about in entertainment, in media, maybe things that you're not seeing that you feel like should be seen more or brought to people's attention?
I think it's the education. I think it's the education on mental health, and that filmmakers should be working with neuroscientists and psychologists and bringing the science of mental health to our stories.
Wow.
As some people either don't know a lot about it or think of mental health just as people who are suffering, but we all experience it. We all experience this, and I think there should be more awareness and education surrounding the topic.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, it's back to the stories and the stories that we can tell, and what better way through film.
Yeah.
And also music as well.
Yes.
So
yeah,
something I think could be looked into for sure. And I would love to look into that, on working with different filmmakers and seeing how we can provide this education.
Yeah, that's amazing. I agree with that, because especially I feel like at a young age, we go through a lot of difficulty mentally. And I feel like if we saw that through entertainment, something that we're already engaged with and connect with so much, and even music as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so true. You're changing the world, girl. It's so
I need
true.
everyone's help to do
that. Yes,
you
do. Yes. You've got the vision, and then you need the connections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Back to connections.
Yes.
So important.
Yes. We actually just spoke with a neuroscientist. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Alex Korb.
I have not. Tell me more.
So he wrote a book called The Upward Spiral.
Okay.
And he's releasing a workbook, actually, so to help with the education component of mental health, specifically with depression, later in the spring. And he talks a lot about, there's a section in his book, actually, like he talks about music. So we got to connect you guys, because
he's a neuroscientist.
Even
through this, I've just been connected to someone. Brilliant. I love it. Yes, please.
No, yes, for sure. We will, because he's super passionate about that. You guys got to connect.
This happened also yesterday. I met with the director who wants me to be a part of his project, and then he said, we got onto the topic of Stronger with Music and my mission.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I've got to put you in contact with this woman. She's incredible. She lives in Bangalore and she has a PhD, and her expertise is in music and mental health." And I thought,
oh my God.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, energy. Thank you, world.
Yes.
That's exactly what I want. So again, brilliant. It's happened today.
Yeah. And he worked with Poppy Jamie. I don't know if you've heard of Poppy Jamie.
Poppy Jamie. That name rings a bell.
Yeah. She was like a TV host, and she's created an app called Happy Not Perfect.
Okay.
And she has music. You should talk to her too. He's worked with Poppy as well, because she has an app that's like amazing. I've been using it for the past year since it's been out, and it incorporates music, and she works with neuroscientists and everything. So anyway, we gotta connect with her too. She's based out of London as well, like the United Kingdom. So
that's fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah. So
natural link.
Yes, amazing. Yeah. So okay, we got stuff to to get going with that.
I love how that just happened. That's brilliant.
No, I was listening to you and I was like, all these people are popping.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
But that's what a lot of it is putting the dots together and sort of the jigsaw and then building up what you want to create with the other people that you either introduce to or you meet yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. You guys have seen a real life example right here of what we were just talking about. Okay, I love asking this question. What advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice would I give to my younger self? You have power in your vulnerability. I sort of was learning that throughout the time I was in college and discovering that I was scared to be vulnerable and scared to show that I could just be myself. And I have a lot of energy, etc., but sometimes I would think that I'd have to put on something and it didn't feel sort of natural to me, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
And suddenly it was actually through an acting teacher that I realized that I can have power in what I want to say and give myself that voice. And if I'm going to be vulnerable in that moment, maybe people can learn from me and learn from that vulnerability and take that away. So that's exactly what I would say. And I still sort of live and breathe with that every day. I always remind myself that, yes, you have power in your vulnerability.
Wow. I love that so much. Like that. And I can see that with you too, because from the first time, like, I met you, we had, like, I mean, I was looking at your Instagram and I was like, this girl looks so amazing.
Brilliant.
You have to read Piera's captions. They're like brilliant. They're so funny. And follow, yes. I was reading them with my mom, and she's also a really big fan.
I love your mom.
I love
your mom.
She loves you.
Incredible. She's also doing incredible work. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and we were looking at your captions and everything. We're just like, oh my gosh. And so I met you in person, and I was like, you're so unique, like such a unique individual, but totally yourself, like just completely yourself. And it's lovely. It's so refreshing. Like you get off the phone and you're just like, oh, okay, great. So like it's hard. It's really hard to describe, but like even for you guys watching, like you don't realize, bringing it back to impact, you don't realize even the impact you have being vulnerable. Like just that alone, that simple thing creates an impact for me anyway. Like I just talking to you, like I was like, oh my God, wow. Yeah, so it is amazing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And what else? How has the relationship with yourself changed over time? Like you've talked about it a little bit. Is there anything else that you would like to say about it? Because your journey has been so amazing.
Absolutely. So I love giving my time, and I want to always help others. That's always been something. I definitely picked that up from my mum and my dad. They're very generous and loving individuals, and giving something back to others is something that I've sort of grown with. And sometimes when you do a lot of that, you can also sort of not forget about yourself, but sometimes you have to refocus in on yourself as well.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about self-care, and that's all related to mental health, etc. So in order to be the best version of yourself, you also have to sort of look back in the mirror and just know how you move forward and how the different things that you want to help create and be a part of. And then from that, you'll be much stronger in order to give yourself to others and being able to receive, because that's what it is. It's this give take. That's the relationship you want to give. So you're filling up your cup. And well, actually I met a woman over the Christmas break, and she spoke about, she's a health and wellness therapist, also a beauty therapist, and she was speaking about this man called Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes, I know Dr. Wayne Dyer. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so
he's amazing.
I'm very new to Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Really? Okay.
But I have started listening to his podcast, and there's like a Spotify radio based on him, and I've just been so inspired. And the word that now keeps coming back, which I keep using every day, is to have the willingness to do something. Wow. The willingness to tell your story, the willingness to work on yourself, the willingness to share love, the willingness to help others. And I feel like I'm on this sort of new journey, which I feel quite excited about.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So you're right off to start the new year. I was like, okay.
I love it. My mom, by the way, guys, whoever's watching, my mom's Kim MacGregor 1. You can follow her on Instagram. She has a women's movement that she's doing. And anyway,
you should definitely follow her.
She loves Wayne Dyer. She's just been that's so funny that you brought that up, because she was like the beginning of the year.
I love
she was listening.
Yeah,
she was listening to Wayne Dyer at the beginning of the year, and she was obsessed. Like she's always listened to him, but she was really listening. So bizarre. Right. Connections. It's so bizarre. But yeah, I agree.
I love the fact that you also know who he is. Because to me, I was like, who's Dr. Wayne Dyer? And I'm like doing my Googling, and I'm like, oh wow, he's incredible. I'm like, I want to go to a seminar.
I know.
I believe he lives in Maui, so that'd be quite cool.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely on this new journey, and whether that's to do with him or sort of me being able to be able to listen and sort of continue on my journey, I don't know, but that's how I feel that I've been able to, my relationship with myself has sort of developed in a way that I feel like I can use it. By working on myself, I can give a lot more of myself to others. Yeah,
I love that. And I totally agree with that too. I feel like the more you have, like you said, like your cup filled up, the more you can give to others.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. There's that term, what is it? Spilling the tea. I don't know if you've heard it. People are like, it's spilling tea now, but instead of it spilling the tea, it's pouring the tea. We're pouring the tea into each other's cups.
It's such a British saying. Like, I should be the one saying that. It's like, don't spill your tea. Yeah, you have to pour the tea. Oh,
and that's the tea, or whatever. Anyway, I don't know. I've heard it from...
I like the metaphor of tea, yes.
Yes, me too.
You should always pour someone else's, pour your cup, pour their cup, etc. Yeah. How do we get on tea?
We're sharing the tea. I don't know. It's good tea. Because usually, like, spilling the tea is, like, gossip, I think.
Okay.
I think it's, like, in the high school age group, maybe. Because I've heard it from my sisters, so...
There we go.
I'm not as hip as them, so I was like, I think it's that.
You're Googling it. What?
Yeah, what's the spilling the tea? That's the tea. I don't know. Okay, so I've been very curious about this. Everyone grieves differently, and the grieving process for you was through music. Was there anything else that was a part of that process for you?
Family, friends. I developed new friendships and that are still lasting, obviously, to this day. And it's definitely, music was at the forefront, but being able to have your family and your friends, etc., I think that really supports you, and you feel like you can be vulnerable. So again, back to having power in your vulnerability and willing to share that vulnerability.
Yeah. Have you read The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown?
I have.
Okay, yeah.
I have.
I was like thinking about it. I was like, this is...
You're like, wait. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. Friends and family, because when you're in that, you need that support system, that trust.
It's also, you know, it's a safe space as well.
Yes, yes.
And that's important in any aspect of your life.
Mm.
You need that safe space.
That's really interesting to hear, because I've never thought of that either. Like the having that safe space, not just when you might be suffering, but also when from whatever might be going on. But
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Whether, if you're moving forward in leaps and bounds, etc., you still need the safe space, or just to be your weird self. You know.
Are you
I'm also like that.
What has been? These are some very dark questions, but what has been the darkest moment in your life, and how did you survive it?
Well, it's tricky for me to answer, because when one says like the darkest moment in your life, it sort of connotates to many different things, and a lot of people have experienced stuff that is a lot worse than I have. Mm-hmm. But an example that I can give you was back in November. I was in New York, and I was coming back from an event. I normally am out still quite late because I'm working or at an event or screening or something like that. And I was coming back, and a man physically attacked me and assaulted me. And it was very odd, because in that very moment, I didn't panic. I was very calm. I reacted in a way that I didn't think I would react. And I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Please get off me," etc. And I did, and I managed to get away. And even after he had left, etc., I was standing there, and I thought, "Oh, I better collect my things," etc. And there was still sort of this, maybe it was shock, etc., this sort of calmness. And then as soon as I went into the apartment, suddenly I was in this safe space, and I broke down. Wow. But I was lucky enough. My best friend, Raquel, she is starting to be a forensic psychologist, so she deals a lot with trauma, etc. And she was there, and I'm so grateful that she was there, because she knew immediately how to navigate the situation, and I love her very, very much. And within, I would say, like a couple of hours, she was making me feel empowered about the story, the fact that I got away, that nothing worse had happened.
Wow.
And I was so grateful and so thankful that she was there. And then since then, I feel like it has become a sort of learning experience for me, but also not something that I'm ashamed to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like, this happened, and yes, I got away. And it also made me get like self-defense classes, made wanting to work and develop on my strength, etc. And because I was a ski racer way back when.
Yes,
where I
heard that.
Very amazing, very young, and etc. And it sort of reminded me of that, of having the physical strength in order to also protect yourself. And there's no harm in doing that either.
Yeah.
But then again, we're going back to having like that support network. And I was so lucky that I live with her.
Yeah.
That she was there for me. And
wow.
Yeah.
This is very inspired to hear that, actually. Like, how you have what you've taken from it is the fact that you survived it and you were strong, and how there's no shame around it. I love that we don't need to have shame around a story, at least not for a very long time.
I mean, it's scary to tell. I mean, initially I wasn't sure like how to even say it. And but because the right person was there. I didn't have to shut it off or just pretend like it didn't happen. I could actually, she gave me the space to talk about it immediately.
Wow.
And I felt very lucky to have her in my life.
Absolutely. And does she have anything, any resources people could check out?
You should absolutely, definitely follow her on Instagram.
Okay.
Her name is Raquel Ortega.
Okay. Amazing. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that, Piera, because that's not easy to talk about.
It's not, but I now feel empowered about it when I speak about it.
Yeah.
Because it's different for different people, but sometimes if you don't speak about it, it can come back, and then you'll have to deal with it at a later point in your life. But yeah.
And is that I know this is a difficult question, but I just would like to know what you think about it, because I feel like everyone's experienced some kind of trauma in their life, or even
Absolutely.
through a family member, like heard about it through their mom experienced it, or their dad,
because it's still a loved one who's been put in a situation. Exactly.
Yeah. And how I feel like the sooner you address the trauma, the easier it is to recover, but it's not that simple all the time.
It's not that simple, because sometimes you never know, it can come back. There can be triggers, etc. You've just got to have the right structure around you, whether that's through love, friendship, etc., or someone to talk to when you can move through it. Yeah.
Right. And for you guys watching, we have a website actually for people, for you guys to look at if you've experienced something. We have on-call psychiatrists and psychologists. We've got doctors who have been a part of this website to give you that resource and to be a support for you, and also support for those who are supporting people who have gone through difficult times mentally. So you guys should check that out.
Amazing resource.
Amazing, yes, at www.myteam.org. Piera, it's always amazing to talk to you. Like I could talk to you forever. You're amazing. I want to hear so much more. But thank you so much for your time. And
this has been lovely. This has been so lovely. And for anyone watching, feel free to find me on my website, or follow me on Instagram at Pieravandewiel. So you can feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, please do, guys. She's awesome. Piera's doing so much great work, especially with music and mental health and everything. And I think you have an article coming up too on Like a Boss Girls on the UN performance, right?
I do. Yes, exactly. Okay. I met with the Aspire Artemis Foundation yesterday, and we were discussing more about the event, but that'll also be coming out soon, so you can also read that article.
A lot to stay tuned for from Piera. So thank you so much, and we will see you guys. Oh, you're welcome. And we'll see you guys next time on Mind Time with Madison. I'm your host, and send us questions, comments. Let us know what you took from this interview. Reach out to Piera, and we want to connect with you. We want to further impact and make the world a mentally or healthier place. And so thank you for taking a look. Share with your friends and family, and we will see you next time. Bye.